Buenos Aires, Argentina, 1975. A journalist knocks on the door of an unremarkable house in a quiet suburb of the Argentine capital. An elderly man answers, well-groomed, friendly, calm, Argentine accent. His name, according to his papers, Pedro Ricardo Olmo, retired, former manager, good neighbor. But the journalist knows exactly who this man really is. He's holding a photograph from 1943, and the face in front of him matches it perfectly. This man's real name is Walter Kutschmann, SS Untersturmführer, member of a death squad in Poland and Ukraine, responsible for the deaths of over 1,500 people. For 30 years, nobody had found him. For 30 years, he had lived a completely normal life, while the families of his victims mourned their dead on the other side of the world. Walter Kutschmann was born on May 24, 1914, in Dresden, the son of a dentist. A comfortable, ordinary childhood. In 1928, he joins the Hitler Youth. He's 14 years old. In 1932, he begins service with a forerunner of the Luftwaffe. 4 years later, he leaves, finishes his high school diploma in 1937, and starts studying law in Germany. But he soon drops out. Instead, he joins Francisco Franco's forces in the Spanish Civil War, a young man chasing adventure, ideology, and purpose. Later, he works as a secretary at the German consulate in Cadiz. In February 1940, shortly after the Second World War begins, he joins both the Nazi Party and the SS. He's not an early true believer, not a burning ideologue. He's simply a man who goes along with it. And then he starts killing. As a member of a death squad in Lemberg, today's Lviv, in Ukraine, and later in Drohobych, Kutschmann takes part in the systematic murder of the Jewish population starting in 1941. These death squads are mobile SS killing units operating behind the front lines, shooting Jewish men, women, and children. No gas chambers, no camp bureaucracy, just direct executions, man by man, pit by pit. Kutschmann is there. He leads operations. He gives orders. According to witness testimony, in 1941 in Drohobych, he personally shoots a 17 or 18-year-old Jewish housemaid after accusing her of infecting him with a disease. No order from above. His own decision. After the war, he's identified as the man chiefly responsible for the deaths of more than 1,500 people in and around Lemberg. In 1944, he's transferred to Paris. The front is closing in. Germany is losing the war. Kutschmann knows exactly what that means for him. He starts planning his escape. The war ends in May 1945. While millions of Germans surrender and wait to be interrogated by the Allies, Walter Kutschmann disappears. He hides out in Spain disguised as a Carmelite monk, in Vigo, on the Atlantic coast. He takes the name Pedro Ricardo Olmo Andres. In late May 1947, he has a fake Spanish passport issued under that name. What follows is the classic route of the so-called Ratline, a network of church contacts, forged documents, and corrupt officials that lets hundreds of SS killers escape to South America. On January 16, 1948, Pedro Olmo sets foot on Argentine soil. He's 33 years old. Behind him lie mass graves in Ukraine. Ahead of him lies a brand new life. At this point, Argentina is the promised land for men like Kutschmann. President Juan Domingo Perón deliberately shelters high-ranking Nazis and protects them. Historians estimate that around 5,000 Nazi war criminals find refuge in Argentina altogether, including names like Adolf Eichmann, Josef Mengele, and Eduard Roschmann, the so-called Butcher of Riga. Eichmann works at Mercedes-Benz, Mengele at a pharmaceutical company, and Walter Kutschmann, the man who had 1,500 people killed in Poland. He becomes a taxi company owner. Later, starting in 1958, he rises to sales manager at the German company Osram in Buenos Aires. He gets married. He starts a family. In 1950, he obtains Argentine citizenship. In 1962, he marries his wife a second time, this time under his new name, Pedro Olmo. so she can take his fake name too. Their children grow up as the children of Pedro Olmo, a friendly father, a dependable manager, a quiet neighbor. Nobody asks questions. Nobody looks for him. In Germany, an arrest warrant for Walter Kutschmann has been active since the war ended. But Walter Kutschmann doesn't exist in Argentina. Only Pedro Olmo exists. This setup works for 30 years. 30 years of sleeping in a normal bed, eating at a normal table, living a normal life, while the few survivors of his crimes carry their memories with them. Then, in 1975, an Argentine Jewish journalist named Alfredo Lewin finds him. Through relentless digging, old photographs, and one crucial lead, he manages to expose Kutschmann's true identity. A photo from 1943, and the face of the friendly Pedro Olmo. It's the same man. Der Spiegel runs the story, German newspapers print his name, extradition requests go out. Suddenly Pedro Olmo is everywhere. Argentine federal police bring him in for questioning, and then something happens that casts the whole story in a bitter light. After almost 30 years in Argentina, Kutschmann's Spanish is bad enough that the suspicious interrogators reach out to the German embassy in Buenos Aires for information on the German manhunt. The embassy responds, but only after several days. The international arrest request arrives in Buenos Aires too late. Kutschmann is released from custody. Germany lets him slip through its fingers. More extradition attempts follow in the years after. Diplomatic notes, legal requests, international manhunts. But Argentina drags the process out. Kutschmann, now fully exposed for what he truly was, keeps living in Buenos Aires. He gives no interviews. He shows no remorse. He waits. On August 30th, 1986, Walter Kutschmann dies in Buenos Aires. He's 72 years old. He never stands trial in a German courtroom. He's never convicted. He dies a free man in a country that had sheltered him for 4 decades. His case is far from unique. Of the estimated 5,000 Nazi war criminals who fled to Argentina, only a handful were ever held accountable. Most died undisturbed, surrounded by their families, in countries that had welcomed them with open arms. Not because they couldn't be found, but because for too long, nobody really looked. Walter Kutschmann killed 1,500 people. He lived another 41 years after that, and the only punishment he ever faced was a newspaper article